What's up, what's up? How are we, everybody? So tonight we've got an epic one, alright? Really cool topic, which is neurotransmitters. Now, you've all heard me touch on neurotransmitters, every now and then, but we haven't ever gone completely deep into it. And this is an area that I'm really interested in. I mean, since I was studying at uni, I did medical science, so obviously these brain chemical things were largely of interest to us when we're doing stuff like psychology, neurochemistry, biochemistry, all that stuff. And I spent a heap of time researching these things because they really clicked with me. They really resonated with me and how these things work. And so I've done a substantial amount of research in this area, and I'm going to share it with you guys tonight. Because there are some major things which go wrong with you when these things go wrong. I mean, dead set, there is nothing worse than having bad neurotransmitters. There is nothing worse because literally the vast majority of your life goes to shit, okay? And that's why we're going to go over it tonight. We're going to cover it all, and I'm going to get you started on how you can start, identifying, do you have deficiencies in neurotransmitters, or, do you need to supplement them or anything like that? So yeah, but once again, thanks for coming along, guys. I really enjoy these. I actually have a lot of fun talking with you guys. I love your questions. Your questions are epic. We get some really cool ones in here. So as always, comment away. That goes for you, Craig Davey. It's good to have you on here, mate. Ask away as much as what you want, because I know there's a lot going on in that head of yours, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share this in the Shred community, as I always do. I'm going to give you guys the link to the Shred community. If you're not in it, you're behind the times. Get into it. Get in amongst it. It's absolutely epic. It is blowing up. It's been absolutely amazing. And we're getting some really cool content in there. Really top level people. We've got some of Australia's best bodybuilders, physique athletes, chiropractors in there, nutritionists in there, a whole lot. Alright? Papa Shred's going to look after you in there. If you're a member of the Shred community, you will become shredded. It is guaranteed. Alright? So I've just posted the link up there for you. Pinned there. And now I'm sharing it in the Shred community so all of the shredders can get it. For all the Shred community guys who are in this currently, I was thinking about doing a weekly or a monthly transformation thing where I might twist Sean from Sabito's arm and get him to hook you all up with some protein for the best transformation each month, whoever makes the most progress in a month. So if you think that's a good idea, comment yes. If you think it's a bad idea, say no, and we'll go from there. But I'm thinking that we should do that because it'd be epic to see how good everybody is doing in there. Rightio, let me just write this up and share it and we'll be good to go. Oh yeah, I got given one of these today by my mate Cano, a bloke I went to high school with. It's the Keto OS Max. Now I haven't looked at it before, no idea, but he reckons they're alright. If anybody's tried keto before, or Keto OS, or any of those exogenous ketones, not raspberry ketones, like the Keto OS stuff, just give me a review below. I'm pretty interested to try it. I've never used this stuff before. So yeah, I'll be sharing with you how I go on it. Bit skeptical. It's not going to increase fat loss. That is one thing, guys. Exogenous ketones do not increase fat loss directly. They will not make you start burning fat for fuel. Plain and simple. Does not happen. However, they may actually reduce inflammation. They may have a whole heap of really good antioxidant effects, which may then cause you to look better and get a bit leaner. So yeah, if you have used it before, let me know about it. Okay, but now, on to the thing that we want to talk about, and that is neurotransmitters and gains, anxiety, and sex, okay? These are the three biggest things that we're all concerned about. Gains, because obviously we want to be fucking big and we want to be shredded. Anxiety, because we're all type A personalities in here, or the vast majority of us anyway, and when you're a type A personality, you are more prone to anxiety than literally anybody else, alright? There's no studies on that, that's just my observation from working with an absolute heap of people, a heap of top level people. And the other thing is sex. Well, we all want more sex, and we all want to enjoy sex, and we all want to last longer. I can help you last longer as well. You don't need to have some nasal spray or some, injection or anything like that. It's actually very easy to help, okay? So, what are neurotransmitters? If you don't know by now, right, neurotransmitters are the little chemicals which connect two nerves together. And what these do is, our whole body's made of nerves. Our brain is a big bundle of nerves, just thousands and thousands, probably millions of nerves. I don't even know how many nerves there are. There's so many, all right? And what these do is they talk to each other. And the nerve upstream tells the nerve downstream to either do something or not do something. Simple as that. And it's heaps of these actions of either doing something or not doing something, which causes us to think, to move, to sleep, to rest, to want to have sex, to want to not have sex, All these sorts of things are all controlled by these nerve impulses regulated by neurotransmitters. Okay, so that's what they are. They're little communication chemicals that run around. They make us feel the way that we do feel. Okay, the four main neurotransmitters that we're concerned with are serotonin, GABA, dopamine, and acetylcholine. All right, they're the four main ones out of the whole lot. There are about 128 that we know of at the moment. There's probably going to be more tomorrow because we're constantly finding them. But yes, there are about 128 at the moment. But these four account for the vast majority of the total number of neurotransmitters, okay? Or the total effect of all the neurotransmitters. These are very, very important because if we have them in the right amounts, we work very, very well, all right? Now, because most of you guys out there, your type A personalities, you've most likely got a very high level of dopamine, all right? You have got much more motivation than what the normal person does. You're generally going to be more genetically gifted than the most normal, the regular person. You're going to have a higher proportion of fast twitch muscle fibers in general, right? And you're going to be able to function at a much, much higher level than most people when you're on point, right? The thing is, you guys might be genetically gifted, but if your environment has pushed your neurotransmitters out of alignment, you start to go downhill. You start to not feel as good as what you should. Okay, so this is called a deficiency. When you have a deficiency in any of the four main neurotransmitters, be it dopamine, serotonin, GABA, or acetylcholine, stuff just starts to go bad. It's not good at all, right? You're not going to have a fun time when you do have a deficiency in any sort of neurotransmitter. Now, the main neurotransmitter deficiencies that we see in guys like us are GABA deficiencies, okay? By far the biggest one is GABA deficiency. We also get acetylcholine and dopamine deficiencies, okay? So hold that thought, remember those things. GABA is number one, then acetylcholine, then dopamine. Now, Craig's just asked, does night shift affect this more? Yes, night shift can affect that in a big, big way. And that's why in your programs, I've supplemented around that and made sure that we fix up your deficiencies so you don't get any, right? So, the things that we need to worry about here, what we're talking about today, are growth, so making gains, losing fat, lifting in the gym, getting stronger, all that sort of thing. Anxiety, right? So your perception of stress, how stressed you get, does your heart race, do you get butterflies in your stomach, do you get an anxious gut, anything like that? And then sex, your sex drive, how much you enjoy sex, how much you want it, all that sort of thing, right? These three things are really, really key and really, really integral with neurotransmitters, okay? Well, you need neurotransmitters in order to do these things optimally, all right? Really, really cool. So with growth, pretty much, if you are stressed out of your fucking nut, you will never grow. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the largest of people are always the ones that grow faster. So I got guys like, Daniel Woods, who works with the JCF team. We've got Andrew Chen, all right? These two guys are two of the freakiest athletes that I've worked with in a long, long time. Chenny's about 110 kilos lean, all right, and natural. And Woods is about He's about 85 to 90 at the moment, and lean and natural, not on any shit. And the thing is, with these guys, they're both so relaxed because they have very high levels of GABA. They've got optimal levels of GABA and very, very well rested. And that's one thing that I see all the time. Anybody who's GABA deficient does not grow as quickly as what they should. On top of this too, if you want to grow, you need to make sure that you have optimal levels of acetylcholine. If you do not have optimal levels of acetylcholine, you are not going to feel good. You're not going to be able to lift hard. You're not going to be able to lift long. And you'll experience burnout within your workouts very, very quickly. So if you don't have high levels of acetylcholine, you're not going to be able to last the distance, and you're not going to be able to lift with a high intensity. Acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter which is used for every single muscle contraction, all right? That is what is within every single muscle. Every time it contracts, right, that's because of acetylcholine. All right, the next one is in dopamine, okay? Dopamine causes us to be motivated, and that's what causes us to lift. If we want to lift for longer, if we want to perform harder, if we want to be able to train for 2 hours straight and then do cardio afterwards or go off to work afterwards, you need a large amount of dopamine, all right? The thing is, when dopamine's at its highest, you will be able to perform. You'll be able to continually perform. Now, when you deplete dopamine in your workouts, which is normal, this is when towards the end of your workouts you start getting tired. That's because dopamine's being depleted and serotonin is increasing in your brain, okay? So when dopamine's going down, you don't feel as good and you need to rest, all right? So we need to make sure we have optimal levels of dopamine, cool? Now, the next one is anxiety. Guys, a lot of you out there are going to have anxiety. Some of you will have anxiousness, which you don't quite identify as anxiety, but regardless, if you feel nervous regularly, if you get butterflies in your stomach, if you feel like kind of awkward a little bit out in social situations, if your digestion's off and your stomach gets really, really tight, if your shoulders are slouched forwards or anything like that, they're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to have some sort of anxiety in there, okay? And the reason why you have this anxiety is for two things. Number one, you're deficient in GABA. Number two, you don't have enough dopamine floating around, okay? That is not what you want to do at all, because it absolutely sucks, guys. I've been there. I've had anxiety in the past when I was much, much younger. When I was at uni, I actually used to get it. My gut wasn't quite great. It used to really, really screw around with me. And on that, further on from that, if you do get anxiety, it's generally going to stem from your gut. I've worked with a lot of dudes, actually a substantial number of dudes, who've had anxiety, depression, bipolar, and the things that really help them, funnily enough, aren't always the SSRIs and the antidepressants, but it's just a change in diet. When you can change people off onto a keto-style diet and you increase their GABA and you ruin the damage within their gut, their GABA levels will come up and their anxiety and their mental health issues generally tend to subside. And that's not because we're deliberately going to do that. I'm just trying to improve their body composition, but they just feel much, much better afterwards, and a lot of their symptoms become alleviated very, very quickly. I've seen blokes go from being, quite substantially bipolar to very, very normal within the space of about 3 to 4 weeks, all right? Just by doing a few of these easy to do things and by increasing their GABA levels. It's as simple as that, okay? So yeah, if you want to improve your anxiety, you need to make sure that you have optimal GABA levels and optimal dopamine levels, okay? Things like theacrine and tyrosine are great for your dopamine. Now, if you want to boost your sex drive, which we all do, because sex is fucking awesome. I love sex. I love sex. Everyone loves sex, all right? It's fantastic, all right? There are two main reasons why you don't have an amazing sex drive, or why your sex drive is recently lowered, all right? These are GABA deficiency and, once again, a lack of dopamine, right? They're the two big regulators of sex and how much you want it, okay? If you are stressed out of your nut all the time, have you noticed that your sex drive just goes away? Well, that's because it's actually an inbuilt adaptation for you when you are stressed to have lowered GABA levels, have increased adrenaline levels, and have a decreased desire for sex. Because if you're trying to reproduce in a very stressful environment, say for example there's a tiger over there and he's trying to eat you, if your mind's on fucking and mind's not on getting away from this tiger and not being stressed, then you're not going to survive, okay? So it's as simple as that. That's what it comes back to in the end of the day. If you're stressed, your GABA goes down and your sex drive goes down with it, okay? This means that if you want to boost your sex drive back up, what you need to do is you need to replenish these GABA levels, okay? You need to get them back. You need to be more relaxed again. You need to be at ease. You need to be out of this fight or flight and into this rest and digest, okay? In terms of dopamine is the main driver of motivation, as we've already established. And if you are deficient in this, you're going to have no motivation to go out and get sex. So you might want it. You might be like, oh yeah, I got a bit of a sex drive, but you won't have that drive to go and get it. This is particularly prominent in men, right? Less so in women, more so in men. If you don't have that drive to get it, and you feel like you are missing, you're missing that part of masculinity in you, and you're not feeling like a real proper man, then it is most likely, from what I've seen working with a lot of people, is that you are going to be slightly down on your dopamine levels, okay? Slightly down. And all you need to do is fix these back up, okay? So, I bet you all guys are asking, bet you're all thinking, all right, fuck, I'm not growing quick enough and I am gassing out in my sessions. Yes, I've got anxiety. What do I do about it? Sex, my sex drive is down. It shouldn't be up where it is. By the way, a good sex drive should really be at wanting it pretty much every day, okay? That's... For us type of people, these type A's, you really want to be getting a bit of nookie every day, okay? If you're wanting it less than then, you're probably down a little bit in these neurotransmitters. But anyway, so how do you fix this? Well, the main things that you need to do is you need to supplement your neurotransmitters. You need to fix the production of your neurotransmitters and make sure there's nothing funky going on in there. You need to optimize your gut health. You need to optimize your training. And you need to make sure that you are managing your outside stress as well as you can. You need to be balancing your stress. Now on stress, this is a really, really big one. There are 5 main types of stresses which I'm concerned with, okay? The ones which I talk about with you guys, okay? Number 1, all right, is your psychological stress. This is your perceived stress from like work or outside influences. Number 2 is your emotional stress. This is your stress within, relationships with your family, friends, all that sort of stuff. Number 3 is your digestive and dietary stress. So is your gut going well or not well? Are you putting lots of drugs into your body? Are you putting lots of bad food into your body? That sort of thing. The next one's your physical stress. Are you training enough or are you training too much? Is your training correct for you? All that sort of thing. So there, number 4, that's making sure your physical stress is in line. And number 5 is your sleep stress and your rest and digest stress. Do you have enough balance between the times when you're on and when you're off? Do you have an excessive amount of being under the pump, adrenaline? Are you sleeping enough? All those sorts of things. You need to look at those, all right? As for supplementation, you need to find which neurotransmitter you're deficient in order to supplement it correctly, okay? All my guys, the easiest things that I do for you is I get you on a sleep aid, which I now use Delta Zone by, I don't know what company it's by, but it's really good. I use Delta Zone, a bit of 5-HTP, some theocrine and theanine, and that levels a lot of people with minor deficiencies out. If you are more substantially, deficient and you have all 3 of these issues and you're not feeling great at all, in fact, you're feeling kind of shitty right now, you're going to need something far more, higher level, and you're going to need something that's going to make you feel much, much better, okay? And that's where you need it to be completely customized for you, all right? Now, I've just had a question here come up by Timmy Nesbit, and he said, is GABA supplementation risky with any particular medications? None that I know of at the moment. If you're taking GABA, you are relatively safe to use it with anything. So if you're on antidepressants, anxiolytics, so anti-anxiety pills, all that sort of stuff, there are no real, last time I checked anyway, when I went and did my research, last time I checked, there are no known interactions between GABA and any of those drugs. As for 5-HTP, 5-HTP does not often go well with SSRIs or MAO inhibitors. Okay, so if you're on an antidepressant and you're seeing your doctor, you probably want to go consult with your doctor before you start taking 5-HTP, because that one can be a bit dicky. If you take too much of it, it can give you serotonin syndrome, which makes you go a little bit loopy. Bit how's your father. All right. Okie doke. Now let's go through these questions. Guys, that's pretty much what I wanted to go over, okay? That's the main gist of it. And I'll go over and summarize it now before we get onto the Q&A part of this. But the first things first, the neurotransmitters are little communication chemicals which work in both your brain and throughout your whole body. The main ones are GABA, dopamine, serotonin, and acetylcholine, all right? GABA slows you down, dopamine speeds you up, serotonin does a bit of both, and acetylcholine is really good for muscle contraction, gut contraction, and brain speed, okay? If you want to grow, but you're not growing too well, you're probably going to be GABA deficient and a bit dopamine deficient. If you have anxiety, you're most likely going to be GABA deficient, and then sometimes you can also be dopamine deficient. If you don't crave sex enough, if you don't want sex every single day, if you don't have a sex drive, you're not feeling macho, so all men, if you're not feeling really, really masculine, really motivated, you're probably going to be deficient in dopamine. Women, if you have trouble getting aroused, you're probably going to be deficient in GABA, okay? If you're stressed out of your nut, it's going to ruin all 3 of these, okay? So that's the big summary. Now, on to the questions. Andrew Clarkson, what's more important, working or being shredded? Lol. Being shredded, bruh. Mate, I got shredded first. When I was at uni, I literally worked fucking the shittiest jobs ever. I was a tyre manufacturer. So those run flat tyres? I used to make those when I was at uni. What else did I do? I did maintenance. So I used to put toilets back together, fix light bulbs, that sort of shit. All right? Those were shitty jobs, but I was shredded. And this is what I do now. I make people shredded for a living. It's fucking epic. So yes, number one thing in life is being shredded. How could you have a more important thing in life than being shredded? I made fucking shitty tires in a dark, dusty, workplace for I don't know however long I did. I was there for a while. And I tell you what, I used all that money as well to get coaching, to get smarter, to learn how to train properly and to get shredded. And it was the best investment that I've ever made in my life. Jamie, how are you, big fella? Who we got? So everyone's pretty keen for the idea of having a biggest transformation prize pack from Sabito. All right, guys. So if you're in the tree community, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and tee up with Sean from Sabito. By the way, I haven't told him about this yet, so put the pressure on him if you are talking with him. But I'm going to be pressuring him into this, and we're going to be doing a regular prize for the biggest transformation that somebody puts up. All right. So whoever makes the most progress from the start of the month to the end of the month, we're going to hook them up. Well, yeah, we're going to hook them up. Sean hasn't agreed to this yet, but I'll make him do this. We're going to hook you guys up with a prize pack from Sabito. Okay. Who have we got? Now, Craig's asked, for those of you who missed this before, we've got a lot of FIFO workers and people who work shift work on here, so I thought I'd go over this again. Craig's asked, does night shift affect these deficiencies more, these deficiencies in neurotransmitters more? Yes, it does. When you're on night shift, it really ruins your melatonin, serotonin, and GABA production, all right? So melatonin and serotonin are related because the amino acid tryptophan goes from one way to another, all right? Goes either to melatonin or serotonin depending on the presence of sunlight. Now when you work in shift work, you don't get any sun, and that really screws with your body clock. On top of this too, you're completely out of whack, so your cortisol's all over the place, your testosterone's all over the place, what else? Your insulin's all over the place. All these sorts of things are really up and down, up and down, up and down, okay? So yes, it will affect your shift workers a lot more. Graphy, what's the best way to enhance dopamine, James? Number one, Graphy, the best way to fix it is to find the deficiency. What is causing your deficiency in dopamine in the first place? You need to make sure that you get to the root cause. Guys, you can supplement and you can whack band-aids on as much as you like. You can throw thousands of band-aids over your body. But at the end of the day, if you're doing things which are shit for you, such as eating bad foods, excessive stress, not sleeping enough, spending too much time in front of a screen before you go to bed, all those sorts of things, it's really going to mess with you, okay? And you're never going to be able to fix it no matter how much supplementation you do. Trav, how are you, legend? Jaden's just asked, how do you increase your acetylcholine? I always feel super fatigued as soon as I'm doing 30 reps in a set. Jaden, with you, yours comes back to a GABA deficiency. So guys, I'm coaching Jaden. He's absolutely killing it. But Jaden, you've got a GABA deficiency, man. Okay? And so when you have a GABA deficiency, you don't sleep well, you don't rest well, so you don't recover well. That is the number one thing for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to fix up your gut, we're going to fix up your neurotransmitters, and then you'll bang, within about 4 weeks or so, you will have awesome energy levels, man. Awesome energy levels. Sean, great information. Thanks so much for the GABA tip, mate. I hope it helps. GABA is absolutely huge. It is the single biggest deficiency that I see every single day. Pretty much, if you're not enjoying life, if you're not feeling like you're fucking awesome, then you're most likely going to have a GABA deficiency. I have literally 2 states. I have fucking awesome and really good, okay? When I'm really good, that's when I got a GABA deficiency, okay? I like to be up at fucking awesome all the time. I like to function at 130%. I actually coach a group of blokes a select group of blokes who pretty much want to function up at 130% at all times. And what I do with them is I optimize the neurotransmitters. I do all the same stuff that I do on myself and get them up here to function beyond what you would normally be able to function on, okay? So you can do it. You should be feeling fucking awesome all the time. Really good isn't quite good enough. And if you're feeling average, man, that's the pits. Nobody wants to be average, especially not you guys. Timmy Donovan, how are you, legend? Where do you get theacrine from? You get theacrine from totalneutropics.com, right? Which I can put up here. I'll comment it for you guys. totalneutropics.com.au, I think. Let me just find out for you. totalneutropics.com.au. Alright, I've just posted the link there. If you guys want theacrine, just scroll down. You'll find the link to totalneutropics.com.au. Hales, how are you, legend? Keto OS takes delicious and improved my cognitive function pre and during workout. That's about all I notice. Some guys I know swear by it, but I can think of a better way to spend $10 a packet like a JCF plan. Thank you, Hales, you legend. It was actually Kano who hooked me up with a Keto OS, who you went to uni with. Small world, man. Graphy. Is it worthwhile experimenting with GABA subs at bedtime? Yeah, dude, it's in your plan, man. It's in your plan. So after you work out, we literally always get our guys on a bit of 5-HTP, because what 5-HTP does, it brings you down, chills you out, and it actually increases the amount of GABA receptor, which makes GABA more effective. and then we get you onto a sleep drug at night, a sleep supplement at night, with a little bit of, well, not a little bit, a lot of magnesium in order to chill you out, because magnesium is really good at boosting GABA. Kate Hodson, great question. How do antibiotics affect the gut? Had to take them this week and curious to see how it could have impacted me. Kate, antibiotics fuck your gut, all right? They literally smack it for 6, okay? Antibiotics are really not good for us at all, guys. Really not good for us. The only times I recommend that you take antibiotics are when you've just had surgery and you've just been cut open, and if you've got a really, really severe infection. Common colds, flus, small infections, I would not bother at all with antibiotics. No way in hell. I would not put them into my own body, so I'm not going to preach doing it to you. I'm not saying be a dickhead and, you know, if you've had a major operation, if you had bloody heart surgery and you're at risk of getting an internal infection, don't take it. I'm like, yeah, fucking oath you take it. That's what they're made for. But for general stuff, colds and flus, you really, you know, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're taking them. And your doctor's doing you a disservice if they tell you to take them. One thing about antibiotics, guys, is that, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but when you take antibiotics, it'll take you about a week to get better from a cold and flu. If you've got a cold and flu and you don't take antibiotics, it'll take you about a week to get better. There's no difference between either, okay? But as far as how they affect the gut, all right, what they do is they kill off certain populations of bacteria, so they encourage what we call dysbiosis. So, for example, really common ones are like metronidazole, all right, and doxycycline. Metronidazole I'm very familiar with because I've used it for my IBS. It did fuck all for me, actually made me worse. But metronidazole, it kills off anaerobic bacteria, and they're the ones which are most common in your probiotics, right? So lactobacillus and bifidobacteria, they're the two big ones that it kills off. And when you kill off those bacteria, you promote symptoms of IBS. So a lot of people on antibiotics will get diarrhea, constipation, all that sort of stuff. And after they come off the antibiotics, they'll have irregular bowel movements for the next however many weeks. A lot of people actually get long-term effects of them. And it can get really, really bad. One thing that last time I checked at uni, I haven't looked up on this recently, but last time I checked, they were analysing the relationship between children being born with autism and neurological disorders and their parents' history with use of antibiotics and things like that. Right? When they were saying that there was one. Sid Gurish has just asked, James, how are you, mate? Do you reckon you need pre-workout for a massive pump? No, you don't need pre-workout. You need a very high carb intake in order to get a massive pump. You need to be eating more. You need to be doing what I'm saying all the time. You need to eat the very most amount of food that you can. The very most. You need to be chowing down on food. Absolutely chowing down on food. And that is how you're going to get a big pump. Lots of carbs, lots of sodium, lots of sun. That's what's going to do it for you, all right? Do all those things and you're going to be sweet. On top of this too, actually you also need to improve your lymphatic flow, so you need to make sure that your blood's flowing through your body really, really well. We've got this immune system called the lymphatic system, and it seems to get jammed up a lot of the time in people who are lifting a lot and people who are sedentary, okay? And so in order to free this up, you can just do a little bit of cardio or a little bit of walking around, and it'll start getting everything to move along. Trent Medham has said, James, how you doing, mate? Very well, thanks, brother. Just want to know what's the best way to lose a bit around the gut. I'm full of energy and can lift heavy, just can't seem to shake the puppy fat. Cheers, bud. Trent, mate, the easiest way that you can find out this is you just get on, have a chat with my specialist, Joel. All he does, this guy's sole job, his sole purpose in life is to make people shredded with me and to plan out how to get them shredded, okay? So what I'll do is I'll paste, put down here a link where you can book in for a free consult with Joel, all right? And pretty much he'll sit down with you and he'll plan out how you're going to get lean, all right? So I'm just going to put it down here. Boom. You'll see it there. Done. So I just pinned it up so you can see it. Guys, if any of you want to get more shredded, right, you just need to book in for Joel. Book in, have a chat with Joel. He'll help you out. Absolute legend as well. Really, really good bloke. Nafiz has just posted up a podcast on gut health as well, which will be fantastic. Nafiz, tell us a little bit about it, my man. Tell us a little bit about it. I'm interested. Nathan, is seafood good as a diet? Yes, seafood is great as a diet. In fact, seafood has been shown to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. All right, high amounts of omega-3s are always going to be good for you. Going to be great for your joints, great for your inflammation, great for your heart, obviously. So yes, seafood is good in a diet. All right. However, I do advise to have more than just seafood in your diet. I think that variety is the spice of life. All right, that's my saying as well. I made it up. Variety is the spice of life. Okay, and what you want to do is you want to eat as many different types of meats as you can. Lots of veggies, lots of fruits, lots of fat sources, all that sort of stuff. Chance, how are you, legend? Alex D. Doing my daily workout before meal one on my 2-meal program, is this cool or should I eat first? Trying to mix it up a little. Alright, so Alex has just asked about training fasted. Is it good? Does it work? What are the pros and the cons? Really good question, my man. Alright. There is no downside to training fasted. None. Alright. I, in all my comp preps, have always trained fasted. Alright. Always trained fasted. The things I noticed about training fasted are that number one, I had much better energy. Number two, the workouts were long, but they seemed to go really quick. Don't know why. Number three, my motivation was sky high. And number four, I lifted heavier when I was fasted than when I was non-fasted, okay? And that was enough for me. The fact that I felt better, I looked good, my results were good, everything was working really well, that's enough for me to say that training fasted has no negative effect on muscle gain or fat loss. Right? In fact, I think it has a beneficial effect because in the end of the day, if you can lift harder, lift heavier, lift longer with more volume, you're going to grow. Okay, that is going to be the big thing. You're going to grow and you're going to lose more fat than if you lifted less, lifted with less intensity, and lifted with less volume. Okay, so yeah. That being said, there is no scientific study saying that training with food or without food is better for you, okay? Nothing out, no concrete evidence. This is just my experience from having trained for the last 10 years and done a fuckload of bodybuilding and trained an absolute heap of people, okay? Take it as you like. Frankie Tone, great name. What do you recommend for breakfast is a black, what do I mean? Sorry, there are two questions here. All right, first one. What do you recommend for breakfast? I recommend whatever you need to eat in order to satisfy your plan. That's the worst answer in the world. I'm sorry, Frankie. What I recommend for breakfast? Well, here's what I have, all right? I'm trying to chow down 5,000 plus calories a day now, all right? It's pretty hard. So, what I eat is as soon as I wake up, I smash about 1 litre of water, and then about 5 to 10 minutes after that, I smash some Wheat Bix with some maple syrup rice malt syrup or honey on top of it. Organic honey, of course. And then after that, I have about 4 eggs and half a kilo of bacon. All right. And then after that, I'll have some veggies. All right. So that's within a space of about 30 minutes, all of each other. So yeah, that's what I do. A lot of my clients who aren't trying to chow down 5,000 plus calories a day, I'll get them on a protein shake, a bit of meat in the morning, like a steak or something, brekkie steaks, or I'll get them on perhaps some oats or rarely oats, but more commonly rice flakes. What else do I get them on? But it doesn't really matter in the end of the day. That's what I should have just said right at the start. It doesn't matter what you're eating in order, it really depends on your goals. Me, I'm trying to chow down a lot of food, so I have some fast-acting carbs to spike in insulin, to spike my hunger, and to dysregulate my blood sugar levels, right, before I then go eat a massive fatty meal. But for other people, it needs to be something light, something convenient. It depends on you. All right. Now, is a black coffee good for you? Depends, man. If you're GABA deficient, going back to the original topic, if you're GABA deficient, no, it's going to be the worst thing ever for you. It's going to be the absolute pits. Okay? Because when you have higher levels of adrenaline or caffeine causing higher levels of adrenaline and dopamine, pretty much your GABA levels come down and you're not going to feel good. However, it does have the caffeine in black coffee does have some good, well, not the caffeine, but the black coffee has some good antioxidant effects, all right? The caffeine itself can have a estrogen inhibiting effect. It can prime your neurotransmitters, and it can also prime your circadian rhythms and increase your cortisol when used at the right time. Ryan Heaney, what are your thoughts on F45? I like F45 because it's getting a lot of people into fitness who originally wouldn't have been into fitness. And another good thing about that for me personally is that it's not so good for the people doing it, but for me it's pretty good. It's then injuring these people because it's so poorly constructed with no focus on form, no focus on, in intensity, and no focus on, some focus on intensity, but no focus on moderating the training volume or making sure people are doing it correctly. Because these people then get injured and they realise that F45 shit, but they're in the fitness industry, then they come train with me. I've got a large number of people who've just done F45 and they come to me, all right? So yes, it is good for people who are new to the fitness industry, all right? Very, very good for that because it just gets them out, gets them active. But as soon as you've done it for 4 weeks, a lot of people get injured, all right? They've got a very high drop-off rate. A lot of people get very, very injured because there's no one monitoring their form. They're doing some crazy sort of exercises, all at very, very high intensity. It's all timed, all right? It's a recipe for it's a recipe for an injury or an overuse injury or a joint injury, all right? So yeah, I like it because it brings me more clients, all right? But I also don't like it because it fucking injures a lot of people who I then have to fix, all right? And it kind of sucks. I'd rather be broken out of a job than having people who are getting injured from doing exercises which they're told to do incorrectly. What we got? Where's the next question? Nafiz has just outlined the podcast, which is just linked to you guys as well. Nafiz, you're an absolute legend, mate. You're an absolute legend. So he's just saying that the podcast discusses things like the functional medicine approach to improve candida, SIBO, and mold toxicity. Guys, in Australia, we don't really need to worry about mold as much, nowhere near as much as what you do over in the US, all right? Just a side note, if you do hear about mold, I wouldn't be too worried about it if you're in Australia. The tendency of doctors to prescribe medicine to treat gut-related health issues rather than treat patients with a nutrition-based approach. Very, very good. The problem with these podcasts, which I know where this one's going, is that, guys, if you do have gut issues and someone tells you to go on a strict elimination diet, they're kind of wrong. They're going to make your gut a lot worse. All right? I've seen it thousands of times. Literally thousands, actually. Thousands of times now. Yes, genuinely thousands of times now. So yeah, don't go on a very strict elimination diet. Do not do an elemental diet or anything like that. All right? And be very, very wary of herbal antifungals because they are strong as fuck. If you do have a gut issue, all right, you've got a gut issue ever, it's going to be a neurotransmitters, which is going to be number one. Okay? You can fix them very, very easily. Jaden's asked, what are your thoughts on decaf coffee? Not for me, as I absolutely hate coffee. Decaf's good. Decaf is very good if you just like the taste of coffee and you don't want the caffeine in it. I like it. All right, big fan. Okay. And now Tim Nesbit, who's a physio. Where are you located, Tim? Where's your practice? Let us know because you're a good bloke. I know you're a good physio, so we can send some people to you and people in need. But Tim's just said that he can confirm that he's got a new F45 patient this week. Tim, what injury does that F45 patient have, if you can tell us? Good. Sid Grish. James, how do you get bigger calves? How do you get bigger calves? I'm the worst person to ask that because my calves are fucking tiny. But the best way to get bigger calves is to improve your movement patterns, okay? So drastically improve your movement patterns. Learn how to contract your calf properly. So change your biomechanics, which is kind of in line with movement patterns. Yeah, change the way that you're lifting them, change the way you're training them, and just train them more, okay? Some people are born with calves, and that's because that's the way their body works. Generally, they're less of a medial longitudinal arch in their foot. They've got less of an arch in their foot, okay? So it's a lot flatter, and their calves are used more because it's less efficient. So guys, on the F45 question, Tim has just said he's got a patient at the moment, a client, who has a dicky back now. They've stuff their cervical thoracic spine from being made to do reverse flies bent over a box, right, at an F45. I'm not really a fan of F45s, guys. I'm not a fan at all. The other thing too is that from memory, the PTs who run those things don't have to be highly educated. I mean, as it is, most PTs are fucking shit, but I'm pretty sure these guys are like another level lower of shit, okay, and have no idea about basic biomechanics or how to move or what a good posture is or what you shouldn't do. The physicist asks, what am I eating here, right? I don't know exactly what Gemma's concoction is, but it's awesome, alright? It's really good. It's some sort of noodles. Gemma, by the way, is the owner of Daily Fuel, who's a food prep company here in Sydney. And yeah, I've got some sort of noodles, like rice noodles, with a few veggies, so some carrots, capsicum, and then some cabbage and pork. It's amazing. Made my day. Big bam. Mel's, how are you, legend? Mel's has asked, how do you know when gut issues are caused by neurotransmitter issues versus a parasite or bacterial overgrowth causing gut issues? All bacterial overgrowth, excuse me, literally all bacterial overgrowth is caused by a neurotransmitter issue, right? Because of poor gut motility. With a parasite, well, if you've got a parasite, you've got a parasite. It's pretty obvious then that that's the cause of it. So if you know you've got a parasite and you tested for a parasite when you've got gut issues, then yeah, it's the parasite that does it. The thing is as well that when you get a parasite and it ruins your gut, it ruins your neurotransmitters, which ruins your gut, which ruins your neurotransmitters, which ruins your gut, which ruins your neurotransmitters, and so on. It just keeps going around and around and around and around in circles. So at the end of the day, you're going to have to fix your neurotransmitters anyway. Johnny Jims. Johnny said, I had the flu for 24 hours and was very sick on Saturday. Now my hunger for food has disappeared and I'm eating half as what I was eating. What can this problem be and how can I get it back to eating again? How can I get back to eating big again? Sorry. Yeah, mate. So look, the thing is, when you have the flu, alright, very stressful in your body. All you need to do is just rest up, man. That's the main thing. Okay? Just rest up, get some better quality sleep. When you do get the flu, generally you sleep like shit. You might sleep a lot more, but you sleep really, really poorly. Okay? So just do that with your food. Just start eating more and more slowly again, okay? And just gradually increase your amounts. Sweet? It's as simple as that. Now, guys, I'm gonna keep eating this. So you got 5 more minutes in order to ask more questions, and then I'm going to go offline and start making some calls. All right? So if you want anything more, to ask, comment away, and I'll get you sorted. Kristin. Kristin, how can females lose fat in their thighs without building size from weight training? Incorporate more cardio. I'm an endomorph. Right, Kristin, the number one way to lose fat from your thighs is to eat less, alright? So get into a calorie deficit. If you're really concerned about building muscle, get onto a keto diet because you're far less likely to build muscle on a keto diet. That's from my experience. Study says otherwise, but I find you're far less likely to do it. As far as, if you're really worried about building your legs, chicks who are worried about building their legs always tend to build their legs regardless. So I know girls who won't train legs for fear of making them bigger. But the thing is that their legs still seem to grow. Right? It's just based on the way that you move. Right? So if you can improve your biomechanics, change the way you walk to a more efficient way, a more efficient style, then yes, it might actually reduce the hypertrophy you get just from everyday stuff. The other thing that you can do is just eat less and just train a fuckload. Right? So you put yourself in a bigger caloric deficit, you'll get lean. Most girls actually don't have excessively big legs or big thighs, they just have excessive amounts of fat in their legs or on their legs, okay? So you need to make sure that you get it right because a lot of people aren't actually primed to grow, they're more primed to grow fat. Frankie, is it okay to have 2 to 3 days off training? Yeah, sure bro, go for it. What does it matter? Depends what you want to do. If you want to get fucking big, then maybe you wouldn't want to be having 2 to 3 days off training every week. But if you don't really mind, if you're just kind of, having a deload or something, then 2 to 3 days is great. I often take 2 to 3 days off training just because I've worked really, really hard. And I'm like, alright, I want to take a couple of days off, invest in resting, and then come back and get big. Jason Jones. ATP creatine monohydrate, good or bad? I don't know, bro. Never used it. Nick has asked, GABA, 5-HTP and fade out type subs. Can we be taking these things every single day or night without causing any problems long term? Example, if I stop taking these subs after a certain period, am I going to struggle with sleep, mood, gut health, etc.? No. Any supplements which I recommend, so any of these GABA type things, they're not going to have any long-term effects on you. If you take a lot of phenibut, yes, that can mess you around. If you're taking it consistently at a very high dose for a very long time, yes. But otherwise, no. Right? If you take 4 grams of phenibut, I heard once one bloke was telling me that pure phenibut, if you take 4 grams of it, it actually acts like GHB and heroin, right? So it really like fucking knocks you around. So don't take 4 grams of it, because, well, even if you're looking for a fun time, it's not going to be a Kristin, thanks James, my coach at Clean Health is helping with this too. Right? No worries, mate, but if you run into any issues there, which you may, just let me know and we'll help you out. You got the booking line for Joel, which you'll see up the top anyway. Alright guys, on that note, I'm out, I'm done. Thank you very much for watching. If you just joined us, go back and watch over it, and we'll sort you out. But yeah, also I'm going to be going up online live again tomorrow, so don't miss out. Same time, 6:30 Sydney time. We'll be back. And also, if you're not a member of the Shred community, become a part of it. Okay, it's fucking epic. You're doing yourself a disservice by not being there. Alright, it'll be the highlight of your day getting into that Shred community. On that note, enjoy. Take it easy. I'll speak to you soon.